Welcome to my channel. My name is Rigor Mortis from the Spigot 37 development team. Behind me is my extremely fast operating, infinitely expandable, configurable orientation, zero mechanical power, relatively low cost sorting system. And I know that's a big mouthful, and I'm going to show you exactly how this thing works and how to build it. If you want to jump ahead to the building of this, go ahead and go to the timestamp on the screen. I'm going to explain a little bit of why I'm building this and what brought me to this exact design. I've been playing with Create Mod on Minecraft 1.16.5 for a little while now, maybe 2 months, and I've been working on building all kinds of fun stuff. It's been a really great mod, and in my opinion, this is one of the best mods I've ever seen, and it creates a lot of really interesting capabilities to build with, and makes for a lot of really neat ways to automate and really neat ways to just build things in the game. So one of the problems I have, obviously, from my inventory here is that I end up with a lot of junk in my inventory, and I want to have a system that's going to allow me to filter these very easily and get them sorted out to the right places. So right now, my system for sorting items is not very good. So I've got a greenhouse over here where I kind of keep all of my veggie type stuff. So down here we've got a simple sorter. So this one's just running a bunch of items right past funnels and bone mealing anything that's totally full. So this is not a terrible system, but it's kind of ghetto the way this thing's built. I'd like to make a better system to be able to store this stuff more permanently, or in just a better way for me to get to them. I also have a wood farm over here where I'm collecting lots of wood that's being stored over there. And right now I've got a lot of manual storage of things like this. I've got my system in here is really all over the place. I have basically my valuables chest over here, redstone, and you can see, you know, there's just kind of, there's some organization here, but definitely not as organized as I would like. So, and I've just got kind of bulk chests off to the side for different things, my big machines that are running, and underneath here is a large gold farm based on someone else's design on YouTube. So really, this monstrosity is what all the power is for up there. And it ends up creating quite a few gold blocks. But what I'm talking about specifically today is what I want to do for sorting. And what I was thinking would be really cool for this area, because I've got this nice windmill built. Mostly built. I've got my nice greenhouse built over here. I was thinking to build maybe off to the side over here, or maybe off in the background over there, a large grain silo, and inside of there I'd put my storage system. So I was trying to think of exactly how I would do that, and the system that I wanted to use. My house over there is not quite finished, so I'm still sleeping in my workshop right here. But let's go to creative and imagine how we're going to actually build this thing. Welcome back to my creative test world. This is where we started the video. As you can see, I've made quite a few different create type contraptions around here. A lot of it was focusing on building a gold farm and just understanding the create mechanics in general. But right over here is where I started working on trying to do a vertical system for doing storage. This was my first build for this, where I was just putting items into a chest at the top, where I could put some things in here, and then I could see that they would fall straight down past this, and they could get caught by these funnels as they fell down. So if you just drop some items in here that match, then they're going to get picked up by those funnels as they fall by. And whereas on this side, these things don't have any filters on them, so it goes into the first one available. Really, the main downside of this is that you have to make sure that you line up your items exactly in the middle. You can't just run water over the top and then have the items fall in. You have to actually align them perfectly in the middle. If they're a little bit over to the right-hand side of the block as they fall, they won't get grabbed by the funnel. If they're too far to the left, they fall on top of the funnel and get stuck. So they have to be lined up in the middle, and the way I've found best to do that is to just add a chute here, and the chute will take the items, whatever you put in there, and it'll always make sure it lines up perfectly right in front of the funnel, and it'll get picked up by those. And you can see that's what I was doing here. Now, this is my really early attempt at trying to make a vertical storage system, and this wasn't bad. You could see that every fourth or every third row, I could put another set of chests here, and those items are all right next to each other, so you'd have quite a few items in there. But that's not really better than this system over here, where you're just going to have items going back and forth from conveyor belts, because this is every other row you're going to be able to have chests, and over here it's every third, so you're actually going to have less space used over here, or less space used for storage, that is. So then I started working on this one where I had something that's a little bit more compact, where we have chests everywhere, but again, it's not quite as compact as I'd like to get it, and the system is pretty expensive in this version. You can see that instead of using water, I used a whole lot of funnels, and basically items fall down, they get sucked into a funnel, into a chest, and then they get shot back out again, and they go back up again. This doesn't use any power though, just like the first one. So these two are great as far as power consumption goes. I don't have to actually build any windmill or anything or connect up any gears to make it work. But it's definitely not idealized. Then I started playing around with bubble columns, and I found that this was a pretty cool way to do things. So you could have items go down, go across, shoot up into a chest, and then the chest would move them over, and you could kind of drop them over as far as you need to get to the next set of chests. And the biggest challenge I ran into here was that I couldn't really get the water right next to each other. I was running into problems with things overlapping, but I came up with the idea of having all the water directly together. So I just have a whole bunch of sources here at the bottom, and those sources, as you can see in this not built section, these sources are all connected directly together, and they're going to flow straight out that way. That's great, because now whenever items are dropped in, they flow straight across, and the bubble columns grab them and bring them back up. But this won't move items over. The real challenge over there was with taking the items across, because moving the items back isn't so bad, but moving the items back and over one was an interesting challenge. And what I figured out here was that if you take your items into a bubble column here, shoot them up, you can actually get them to go pretty high and still get grabbed by one of these funnels. So it'll go all the way up to this top funnel into the chest, and then it'll drop it over exactly one square. So now I'm able to have a storage system where I have every square possible filled up with a chest, and each of these chests has an individual item inside of it. You can even use custom filters like this one to add whatever items you want. So you can have up to, what is that? You can even have up to 18 different items being selected in any chest. That ends up with quite a few items with a system like this, where you can reach every single chest. Over here, we could even go higher. You can get all the way up to there. So we could actually have a pretty huge system here, and there's no limit on how high this goes. We'll talk about that shortly. And one of the concerns I had was that maybe you wouldn't be able to run this all the way up to build limit, because what happens whenever items start going by those funnels really fast, because they've been falling a long ways. I don't know how terminal velocity works in Minecraft, or if those items will be picked up by the funnels. So let's take a look at that. In order to test that this is going to work exactly the way you want, no matter how big you make it, I've put a chest all the way up there at build limit with a chute underneath it. It's going to drop entire stacks down here, and we'll see that these are able to pick them up without anything being missed. And just to be sure that we catch anything that might be missed, I've added a chest down here with a chute. So let's go on up there and see how this thing works. As you can see, I have this chest filled up with the 3 different items that I want to sort in kind of a random arrangement. And we're going to release these down and see what happens. all of the items are being picked up directly into the correct chests, even though they're falling as fast as they possibly can. The one thing I have not checked with this system is I haven't actually put this on a remote server to see if it's going to work, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. I would guess that item positions are something that the server is going to handle. It's not going to be a local computer issue, so you shouldn't have any problems with lag with that. So you can see here though that all of these items are sorted correctly, and not one of them has made it through to my catching chest at the bottom. So let's go ahead and head over here and start building the next section of this. Let's see this system in action. I've got a chest over here with a whole lot of items in it. It's got 5 different items plus one that's not actually in my sorting system, and a big chain of one item at the bottom to make sure that it doesn't have any issues with a bunch of the same item coming through at once. But whenever we turn this on, we're going to see that the items come out through here, and they're going to be inserted into the system. I'm using a smart chute here, but you actually don't need this. This is just so that I can lock it and show what's happening. We're going to go ahead and drop these items into the system, and you can see that the items are being shunted through, and they're going through every single column. So they're through here, now they're coming through the third, going through the fourth, they'll start coming through the fifth here. And these are being checked against every item in here. A lot of these aren't filtering anything right now. They're just reversed, so those are outputs. The funnels won't pick up any items because they're not set. And you can see that all of these items are making their way through. We've already finished emptying that double chest out, and the last items are moving through the system right now. I saw the potato, there he's going, and we'll see the potato shows up here because that would move on to the next section. You can see how this works back here. The water is going to push that item around, and it's going to go into the next section right there. Now, personally, the coolest thing about this to me is that there's 0 power and it's infinitely expandable. You can make this go up as high as you want, all the way to the build limit like we did over there, and you would still have the same type of filtering. You might have a hard time getting to all your chests. You'd have to build some sort of interesting scaffolding system to get to all of it, or perhaps like an office building around it. That would be interesting. But in my design, I'm going to be building all 4 sides on my server, and that's going to allow me to have a platform in the middle. So I'm thinking something like this, maybe right here, just a platform in the middle where I can land with an elytra, and from here I can open up all of these chests, and I'll be able to open up ones that are much higher as well. This is just a proof of concept. I'm going to today build this next section with you so that you can see exactly how I put this together. It's really not complicated. The most expensive part of it really is all the brass funnels, because you need quite a few of them. You need one for every chest that you're going to be filtering. Of course, if you want to add the custom filters, you're going to need those too, but they're not very expensive to make. You need chutes, and you're going to need a couple of things here that are a little odd, the ice and the soul sand, to be able to make the bubble columns. So you can see on my next section here, I'm going to grab that potato, I've went ahead and made the bottom part of it. So all I did was set up across the back, whatever my back area is going to be, I put bubble columns. So we've got all of our soul sand there on the bottom. Then I have ice, and I have a fence gate that's open. So then I put water sources all the way across the front, so I get evenly flowing water. So we can see how that works real quick, just to show it. All we do is just put these across, and now you have water sources all the way across, and that's going to push whatever item you push in here straight back. And next, we're going to want to put a chest on here. So we're going to put our chests like this. I'm doing 5 wide. You can do more or less if you wanted to. But we've got our 5 different chests. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make this taller than the other ones, just to show that it's not an issue to do that. Let's go ahead and go 2 higher. Okay. So then we'll come back here and fill these in. Okay, so we've got all those. I'm going to go ahead and put my funnels on these. And one thing to note is that if you're going to be using the entire system immediately, I would recommend holding shift whenever you place these, because if you hold shift and place one, then it's going to be going into the chest. You can see the direction of the arrow there is into the chest. If you just place it on there, it's coming out of the chest. I'm going to be placing these all as outs. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm only going to set a few of them to be ins, because I'm going to do the same thing I did over here, where I've got a few items to filter for now. This is just for my testing purposes. But if you wanted to have one, for example, let's put one right in here that's going to be taking in funnels. So this guy right here is my funnel catching funnel. So now that's the entire sorting system done essentially. However, now we need the item transportation system. And this is where things get a little bit complicated, but not too bad. Really, all we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting a bubble column across the back. That bubble column is going to shoot items up. So whenever you drop an item in here, let's drop in a piece of andesite. We drop an item in there, it's going to shoot up and into there. And this, the purpose of this piece right here, it's going to go in through this bottom funnel into this chest, and then it drops out again and is dropping out to the side. So you're going from this column right here to this column right here. And that was probably the hardest part of figuring out this whole thing, was how do we go from here to here? And then we drop our item across, and then we're going to have to do it again on the next one. You can't use the exact same design because your chest can't go right there. You can't have two chests right next to each other with a funnel. So we're going to use a chest that's going to drop immediately out to its side. And then we're going to do the same thing again. And this is a tileable design. So you're able to put something like this repeated. You can do that as many times as you want, and you'll be able to have lots and lots of chests in a row. Now, personally, I don't want my storage system to go off into infinity. I want it to be accessible. So if I stand in the middle, I can get to this chest or this chest or this chest. So this is the way I want my system to be. But some people might like to have it that way, so you can have it run out a very long ways. The main difference here is that you're going to just change, you're just going to keep stacking chests and keep repeating this pattern over and over again. So let's come back over here and see what all we got to do. So what we got to do here is I need to put a bubble column going up. But there is one problem here, is that I need to be able to get back here, right in here, to be able to get to all these and set them. So if I wanted to change this filter to, say, an andesite column, then I'm going to need to get back here. And if I have a bubble column here, so I'm going to have full blocks here, that's going to make it very difficult for me to get in there. In fact, it's going to make it impossible. I'm going to have to squeeze in from here and kind of try to reach in from the side. That's a real pain to do. So I have decided to go with a different approach here. Whenever you look over on, I believe, this side, I've already done it. I put trapdoors here. So these hold the water back, and they allow you to get back there. So all you really have to do is just go over here, and we're going to place one right here. And then once you have one in place, it's actually pretty easy to place more of these. For one, I'm going to continue to just place them on top of these, and that way I've got these flipping up the way I want. But the next thing I'm going to do is just hold shift and spacebar, and you can go ahead and just place a few of these. And you can get these all in place. Easy way to do it in survival. I am planning to build this on my survival server. Wanted to make sure that I had an easy method of doing this. So now once you have all these in place, all you really got to do is just flip them all up. So now you can see we have a place to put our bubble column. All we got to do now is put our glass blocks all the way up. Now the place where you want to have the spillover is going to be exactly 2 blocks up from your top chest. So you're going to go from your top chest, you're going to have the place for your chutes, and then you're going to have the spillover spot. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll grab our chutes. This is going to be the easiest way to measure this. You don't have to hold shift to place these, you just place them straight on. Personally, I like to be able to see what's going on inside there. But the purpose of the chutes, the whole reason they're here, is because you have to align the items exactly in the center here. I'm sure you can go a tiny bit off in one direction or another, but if they're not aligned perfectly, these funnels will not pick up the items. So if you push the item all the way across to the end and try to drop it, it'll just land on top of the funnel instead of actually being picked up by the funnel or dropping down. So that's the whole reason these are here. Now right up here is where the top of our column is going to be. Let's go ahead and get this in place. The other thing we're going to need are fence gates. You don't want the water to run over these chutes. From my experiments, I found that items can run directly over the top of these and then get stuck on the edge and they won't actually fall in. If you have the water stop before the chute, then the items will just fall directly on top of the chute and they will be pulled in. So let's just take our water here and go and fill in all of this, my bubble columns. This can be a pain in survival, but I think there's plenty of different methods for doing this. Okay, so I need to put glass there, glass here. And that's going to be, and this is going to be the entrance from the other side. So you see I've got water coming up this way. I always put a cap on it because I don't want the items shooting up into the air and they can fall out of your system and whatnot. What we're going to do though is we're going to just go in here, put in our and then we're going to do this. Last one. Glass over the top. So now you can see any items that get dropped into here are going to be pulled up to here and come right back to me. So that's the input from this side back over to this side, complete. We've got the water coming up to the top here, and then all we have to do is put water across like this. And that's going to cause any items that were here are going to flow forward and end up in that chute. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add these shuffling over systems. So we're going to have a system that's going to take in the items that are being shot up by the bubble column and move it over. And the first one, you can do the first one lower or higher. I like to do the first one higher. I don't think there's any difference, honestly. So, but whenever you look at this, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks up. So exactly 4 blocks up from the bubble columns. So that's where we're going to do that. So we're going to just go up like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to have a double chest right here. That double chest is going to have a funnel going into it from the bottom. So if you want a chest to go in, hold shift, right click, and then you're going to have a funnel coming out from the side. So now the items will go directly in the bottom, and when they come out the side, they'll have no momentum. They will fall straight down, and they will fall straight into that. So if I throw something up into there, go straight down, straight into that funnel. So the item went down through the chute, fell into the water stream at the bottom, got pushed over, up through here. That's actually just a pure loop. It'll just keep going down and up, except that at the top, this thing shifts it over by 1. So that's what we're going to do. It'll go up, over, down, around, up, over, down, around, and that's exactly how this whole item transportation system works. For the second level, we want to be bringing this down as close as we can to the bubble stream. This is actually really important. If you have it too high, the item will fall in and then it will actually bounce over. Let's see if we can get this to happen. The item will bounce over and end up over here sitting somewhere in your system laying on the floor. So you want this as low as possible, so it's going to drop the item right into that stream. So let's go ahead and place that in here. We just hold shift, right click, that's going in, and then that's coming out on the side. So let's go ahead and put an item in here. We're going to put one into this chest right here. And we're going to see that it goes around, goes up, into the next one, bounces, and it bounces exactly into this chute. And that's exactly what we want. If you dropped it from too high, so if this is one more level up, then the potato will actually bounce and end up out here, and that's not what we want. Now you could add some blocks to keep the bounces from causing any issues, but personally I like watching the things bounce around. I think it's kind of cool looking, so I'm going to leave that alone. But let's go ahead and put another level here, and then we'll have one more of these down here. So we're going to come out to the front, and we're going to put our chutes in the bottom. Oh, nope, that one. And chute right there, chute right there. So now you can see exactly how that's going to work. And if we look over here, we have our 5th water stream running over glass. I did not include that. That's my mistake. We're going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to have a 5th water stream right here. That 5th water stream is running over glass, and that is exactly what allows us to run. Oh, let's do that. There we go. Perfect. So now what that is going to do is that whenever the item gets to the end of this, it'll drop out here, go through that chute, fall down here past all of these items to see what's going to get sorted, and then it's going to go around here and end up, let's go ahead and add a spot for potatoes at the end. I think we want to add our potato filter, and we need to reverse that guy so now he accepts items. So now let's go ahead and put our potato in at the beginning of the system. Instead of through the chest, I'm just going to throw it into the system in a water stream. There's lots of different ways you can put items into a water stream, but you can see my potato runs through. He's going to go through every different spot. We can actually come over and watch from the back over here and see how this works. So as he goes, we're going to see him come over to this side, and he's going to get into that first column. He gets shot up. He's going to fall through, and each one of these is going to fall past all of those filters. And the goal here is to maintain everything in as large a stacks as possible. So this is going to be an extremely fast system. You can drop entire double chests full of items in here, and it'll sort through very, very quickly. All right, we're just going to throw it all in here as fast as I can. Okay, there we go, and that's all in there. Now, I'm going to bet that this system is not capable of keeping up with this. But it was. Everything that every bit of cobblestone I made ended up in the right spot. There was nothing got moved. Okay, so it would appear that this system can keep up with as fast as you can possibly throw items into it. So the downsides of this, I mean, it's kind of expensive. These funnels are going to cost you some redstone and brass. I mean, they're kind of a pain to get these resources. But honestly, this is the fastest and simplest method that I've ever seen for sorting items. And you throw an item in there, it's going to go through. It's very quick, very simple. If you come up with a better way, I'd love to see it. I'm going to be building this on my survival server because I think this is a really useful design, really simple, and it's going to end up with working exactly the way I want it to. I think I'm probably going to make mine 20 tall. That'll give me something around 400 different spots to be able to store items. And I can put multiple items in each chest. I'm probably going to have a theme for each level. So if I have like a plants level and I have a stone building blocks and a wood building blocks level, I think I'll be able to get a pretty darn good sorting system. And maybe I'll show a video once I get that all done in my actual survival world. So if you've made it through the entire video and all of my ramblings, I thank you very much for watching. I hope that you're able to replicate this, and I also hope that this continues to work in the future. I'm using this on Create 0.3.1c in Minecraft 1.16.5, and I really hope this will continue to work all the way through any future versions, because this is a fantastic system and it's just incredibly fast. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.